Update: would I be a haul if I ask my kids to move out? Original post: my husband 40 male and I, 34 female, have been married for 4 years. I came into my stepdaughter 16 female life when she was 10. Both her and my stepson, now 12 male, were somewhat neglected and had behavior issues when I met them. My husband and his ex aren't bad parents, but it travels a lot for work and she's a bit flighty and self-indulgent. My stepdaughter and I hit it off really well and I love both my stepkids. We all co-parented well, with me taking on a more active role in their school and other stuff. Both husband and his ex-wife were satisfied with me doing the grunt work. For kids, they both travel a lot and I became this old parent who was fully engaged. My own 3-bedroom house I had inherited from my parents, and husband and kids moved in to live with me. Kids love their rooms in our home and their lives in our town. The cost of the arrangement they have in paper is 50-50, but their mom doesn't have as much space as I do, so the kids are here almost full time. A few months ago, I came back from an overnight school field trip with my stepson to a very distraught stepdaughter. She found her parents together in my bedroom and was upset about the cheetah. I was devastated to hear this from her. After some sleuthing, I found out that their affair had been going on for months and possibly a whole year. I'd been trying to get pregnant for the past 2 years and we were having very frequent intimacy, and realizing that my husband was sleeping with us back to back was especially nauseating for me. I have filed for divorce and asked him to leave. He doesn't want this marriage to end and seems somehow convinced that I'll change my mind, but he agreed to his separation and has moved out to an apartment. My stepdaughter was mad at both her parents and wants to continue living with me. Neither of them are taking any steps to move out kids who are still living in their rooms and living their lives as if this family hasn't imploded. I'd have been happy with having the kids with me, but my problem is that both my husband and kids' mom feel at liberty to come into my house whenever they feel like it because their kids are here. She feels no guilt about the cheating and acts as if I'm the interloper. She treats me like I'm their nanny, expecting me to continue taking care of things for kids and leaving me with instructions and criticisms. Meanwhile, my ex frequently drops by under the guise of seeing the kids but keeps trying to control me into letting him move back. I love my stepdaughter and I don't want to do anything to hurt her further, but it can't take living like this. The amount of hurt and anger I feel towards my husband and his ex-wife is too much, and it's painful to have to keep dealing with them. The absolute cheek of them to treat me like this is making my head explode, but I don't know what to do about kids. Everyone in my life is expecting me to suck it up and do what's best for the kids. I love them, but this is becoming unbearable. Home. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not stay home, but I have another suggestion. 1. Change the lock so neither parent can get in. 2. File for third-party or non-parental custody of both kids, listing the reasons you gave, and ask for child support. Include a set visitation schedule for each parent and a pick-up and drop-off location that is not your house either. You will get Cosby and boundaries, or the parents will remove their heads from their butts and start parenting. Either way, you win. And to build on this, if the kids do have to go back to their bio parents, make it clear to them that their rooms will remain as his, and if they ever need anything, or if anything happens that makes them feel unsafe, they are welcome to your home as a safe space. Maybe you can schedule weekends without monication where they can come over. No bio parents involved, and you can't continue to be that positive, stable influence in their lives. However, OP should check the loss where she lives, because in many places, as long as they are minors, she may be charged with kidnapping if she lets the kids stay with her without informing their parents. In fact, as long as she has no parental rights or anything in writing from the parents, having the kids living in her home is problematic. It sucks, but Opie needs to make sure her stepchildren understand that this is on their parents, not her. Not stay home. They treated you like a nanny while they messed around. I'm so sorry you're in such dreadful situation. You would mostly definitely not be Diego. I feel bad for the kids, but at this point you're an unpaid help. And now for the update. I tried submitting an update to Ida and that then go through, so I am posting the update here because I'd like some support and suggestions, and you have been so helpful. In last post I read all the comments, but things blew up in my face soon after and I was offline for a while. Following the advice given, I talked with different lawyers to see what I can do. In this situation, what I found out wasn't very promising, and the lawyer retainer fee for a cost of the fight is too high. With the separation, my money situation is pretty tight and I couldn't afford to chase this issue legally. I've been stressed and working late these days. The day after I made a post I was going to be late home and had asked step-daughter to reheat the frozen lasagna I had made for dinner when I arrived home. It was to both the kids having a meal with the ex and their mom, I'll call her Maddie. Maddie had decided to turn it into a family dinner and set out the food I made on my formal dining table with my nice dishes. She had created a pretty family moment with her and ex under my roof. I completely lost it at that point. I regret to say I behaved abominably, screaming at her and my ex and told them to get the hell out of my house. This happened in front of stepson, who was pretty shocked. So far I had kept him out of most of this mess. After my breakdown I needed some time away, so I drove out to spend the weekend with my cousin. Stepdaughter wanted to come with me and we'll have stepson with his dad. His stepdaughter was so sweet to me and very understanding of why I was upset. She hadn't invited her parents, but her mom had shown up, and then she invited ex for dinner. Stepdaughter hadn't anticipated that I'd get this upset. Frankly, I am surprised too that I blew up like that. That's not the typical me. After we got back I let Maddie know that she shouldn't come over anymore, and if she did then I'll report her for trespassing. Maddie didn't believe me and showed up to talk, and I lost it at her. In this time I did call the cops. They nicely asked her to leave and she did. Stepson was very upset at me for this. Maddie showed up again the next day, acting all sweet and telling me that I am being unreasonable. Unfortunately, I became pretty unhinged at this and swore and yelled at her. Stepson shoved me and screamed at me to shut up. I fell on my butt and was shocked into silence. Maddie was pretty surprised too and left immediately, where his stepson ran and locked himself in his room. He called his dad to come get him, but he was out of town and Matt ignored his calls. Stepson is a very loving kid, so his reaction was very heartbreaking. I understand where he is coming from. Their home, Maddie is his mother after all. Maddie is also a very pretty person who comes across as very sweet and delicate. She's the type of woman people jump to help. It is natural that stepson would feel protective of her. I had expected that he'd turn on me. The home the rest of the week was bad, with stepson angry at me and refusing to talk to me. When his dad got back in town he came and got him. Stepson told him he didn't want to live with me anymore. A few days later ex wanted me to take backstab son, but the kid didn't want to come back, and I told ex I will not force him, but ex got pretty mad at me. He wanted me to fix the situation somehow. When I refused to make stepson stay with me, ex became pretty mean. He said a lot of ugly things, the worst being that he's relieved I didn't get pregnant because I would make an awful mother. I was afraid of things turning out this way, but I've got accent Maddie out of my house, and that is a relief. Stepdaughter is going to live with me until she moves out to college. Axe is struggling to find childcare for stepson. It is so angry at me that I think he will not slow down the divorce anymore. I want to fix this with stepson, but a big, selfish part of me is afraid to do anything that will bring his parents back. I really don't understand Maddie's actions and motivations and all this. She wanted to sleep with ex and I had walked out of the picture, and it was all hers. If she wanted her kids, it wasn't like there was anything I could do about that. If she didn't want her kids, I was already taking care of them, but should keep violating my boundaries with a smile on her face and be all surprised that I'm not happy about those. Right now neither her nor ex want to be the daily parent to stepson, but he's angry at me enough that he doesn't want to choose me. I feel so crushed about that. I am so sorry you're going through all of this. I do think it's for the best that stepson is not staying with you anymore, and I think it'll be healthy for you to take a step back from them as a family during the divorce proceedings. You've parented their children more than they have, but unfortunately at the end of the day they are still theirs. So with stepson being younger, it's best to give them some room. A second question of how old stepdaughter is. Also, you should both think how her staying with you will affect her college options. Are her parents paying for it? Well, they withdraw their support if she maintains your side over theirs. As much as you love her, you should also ensure that these children don't become your responsibility, or that their parents could claim that you are alienating her from them during this process. Change the locks at your place for sure, though, and if stepdaughter is to be staying with you, please make sure she understands that they are not welcome. I'd recommend that if she wants to see them, it should be at a neutral place. If she's not up to going to theirs, but if she's too young for that, then maybe she should be going to her father's, even if it's not what she would prefer. You have to put yourself as your priority right now and stop letting them control and manipulate the situation. Everyone is going to get a little hurt, and it will suck, but you will get through this. Stepdaughter is 16, almost 17, and stepson is 12. For your own sanity, you need to cut ties with his family. Stepdaughter can always have lunch dates with you and you be there for important events, but you're signing up for 2 more years minimum of all this drama. They just want to be child-free. Have you be their unpaid nanny, and it's disgusting. No one is looking out for you in this situation. Do not get custody of Steps on anymore, or even allow him near you. He had no right touching you or treating you like that after everything you've done for him. It might be selfish, but you need to think about yourself right now. The fast way to get these people out of your lives. You can't force him to be with you, so the best decision to do now is just move on and let them deal with their problems. I'm not going to pursue this with stepson. I don't blame him, but I can't fix our relationship without putting myself in a lot of trouble. What a relationship. You are the stepmom. He doesn't view you as his mom no matter how much you want him to. You are too compliant at the stomping of your boundaries, and you need therapy. Like yesterday. Next story is titled Am I a Hall for rubbing it in my boyfriend's face? How much I make in front of our friends. We've been together for 2 years, living together for 1. We were in our first date. He asked if I pursued a higher education after high school, which I didn't. I explained that I failed high school and he couldn't believe it. He was a high achiever and couldn't possibly understand how somebody could fail high school. He finds it amusing to tease me about it, and truthfully it doesn't bother me. I have a good job and I've done great things despite not having a traditional education. At the very worst, it's a little annoying, but I refuse to lose sleep over it. Tonight we had friends over and the conversation turned towards high school and what subjects we did. I listed off what I studied in my final year, and boyfriend began to laugh, saying that it didn't matter because I failed anyway. Then, since it had too much to drink, he took it a little far and started poking fun at how only idiots failed high school. I tried to play it off, but the alcohol got the better of me as well, and I snapped, responding, "That's why I earn $48 per hour and you earn $26, right? Because you did so well in high school and that set you up for success." Him and one of his friends said I drew in the night, but a couple of my friends said he had it coming. Now for the top comments. Not stay home. He did have it coming. Not to be the leave him person so early. LMFAO, but if it did that on a first date, it has been an a-hole about it ever since. Why stick around? You can find someone who doesn't find it funny to demean you as fun. He told you who he really is. Listen, this: he has been jealous and resentful of your success this entire time. The booze made him let it slip how he really feels. Dump his but not stay home. Exactly, he is just gaslighting her every chance he gets, because if she finds out what a loser he is, she might leave. Screw that turd. Not they all. You shouldn't be dishing it out if you can't take it. I also want to add, maybe it's a good time to talk about how your history with high school shouldn't really be brought up anymore. Really sounds like he belittles you for it because he's insecure that you're more successful than he is. Yes, other than a reference to a specific class, like I learned this in AP Psych. Who even talks about high school classes, especially as is old enough for a graduate degree. My wife brings up the fact that I graduated from a high school night program periodically. My response is always the same: I have the same diploma as you and everyone else who graduated from traditional high school, but I got to sleep in. It usually gets alive, not staying home. It's odd that he has held on to this joke for so long, especially about high school. A healthy partner would support and uplift your accomplishment/career instead of focusing on demeaning you. Also, only idiots fail high school. Plus, my partner failed high school is equal to my partner is an idiot. I'd be wary of that. All of this speaks volumes about how he sees her as a person. Red flag. Last story: mighty a haul for telling my husband not to co-sign on his ex-wife's house. I, 34 female, met Stephen, 49, 2.5 years ago. It was an unexpected love match, but I found him to be funny and kind and charming, and we had loads in common. We got married about a year ago and everything's been great between us. Stephen was married to Tiffany, 49 female. for 7 years and they divorced 11 years ago. They share a 12-year-old son Taylor. Tiffany and Stephen both worked in healthcare and met in school. He is a doctor, she was a nurse there. Relationship ended when Tiffany admitted to infidelity and an affair shortly after Taylor was born. Stephen and Tiffany divorced and she lived with a man she had an affair with for 9 years. She had one child with him and they have since broken up. She then met another man and had another child with him. They have also since broken up. This is relevant because several years ago Tiffany opted to let her nursing license lapse and to stay home with her kids. The 3 fathers of her kids all pay child support, with Stephen paying the largest amount due to his income. He has no problem with child support and loves his son. The issue arose after Tiffany's last breakup. She moved into a rental and then tried to get a mortgage approved to buy a house for her and kids. But because Tiffany doesn't work and only has child support as her income, she cannot qualify to get a mortgage on her own. She has asked Stephen to co-sign and is laying on a heavy guilt trip about it being what's best for a son and that Assange needs a home with lake access. I don't know why we live on a lake and Taylor is rarely in the water when he's with us. The home she's currently renting is lovely, spacious, and she can't afford it. Taylor has never expressed unhappiness about where they currently live when is with us. When Stephen told me this, I flat out told him not to do it. Not only do I not trust Tiffany not to destroy his credit, I also don't understand why she can't go out and get her license and start working again. There is a nursing shortage in our area, and they are generously paid. She has family nearby that will happily care for the kids, will take Taylor more often, and if she's unwilling to do this, then why not continue renting? Stephen told me I was being harsh on her, and that it's understandable that she wants to own her own home. He's also sad that he doesn't think she would damage his credit by defaulting on a mortgage. I was married before Stephen, but I don't have kids. That being said, it cost me thousands to make sure my ex-husband would never have access to my finances again. Murda Hall for thinking that co-signing on a house with his ex is a bad move and that she should go get a job if she wants to own a home, not stay home. This is a disaster waiting to happen. The only logical answer, don't get more cut and dry than this. Not stay home. It's messy, and signing the mortgage means he will have to pay it, especially since he won't be on the house. It means it's all risk and no reward. Not stay home. Holy crap, I can't believe it's even considering this. I could be wrong, and I'm not sure where you are in the world, but if you two are married, this mortgage can affect you negatively as well. Again, I don't know where you are, but I'm pretty sure it'll mess with his credit. If she defaults, isn't the whole point of a co-signer that if the primary signer won't pay, they go after the co-signer? This is absolutely insane to me. Let's not ignore the fact that she asked your husband and not her other 2 baby daddies because he has the best paying job, not because of their son. So, back in my life,